Hey guys, today we are going to be making naan or roti, whatever you want to call it, with sweet potatoes. So I picked up 2 giant garnet sweet potatoes from Central Market. We're going to get them cleaned first and then we're going to get them on the stove, and I'm going to show you how I try to make it taste like bread. So let's get started. So potatoes and spuds in general hold quite a bit of bacteria and dirt. So I always recommend soaking your sweet potato in water, and then for every pound of sweet potato, you want to add 1 tablespoon of vinegar. It's important to use something like this because you don't want to use dish soap, but you want an agent that's going to help pull some of the dirt off of the potato. So we're just going to dump 2 tablespoons of vinegar into the water. And we're gonna let this potato soak for about 10 minutes. And then we're gonna take it out and scrub it and get the dirt off. And this is just gonna help take the dirt off without impairing the integrity of the potato skin. So now it's been about 10 minutes. In the water, you can see quite a bit of the dirt and debris has fallen to the bottom of the glass. That's exactly what we wanted. Now you can go in and start to scrub. You can just use a clean sponge that you have. You can use a pipe cleaner like this to really control the amount of pressure that you're using, or you could actually use exfoliating gloves if you have got a clean pair that doesn't have any like residual skincare on it, or these dish gloves that I've recommended in the past. Something textured that's really going to massage the potato and get that last bit of dirt off. Okay, and now we have our clean potato. We're gonna set this aside to dry for just a few minutes. Online I read that you should just like let it fully dry for like 20 to 30 minutes. I'm just being 100% honest, I do not do that. And I think that takes way too long. So we're just gonna let it dry for like 5 minutes, and that gives us a little time to get other things set up. Okay, so while our sweet potato is drying, we're gonna talk about the different variations that you can make with this recipe. So the way that I typically do it is just totally plain with no seasonings at all, because I want to have a versatile carb source that I can use with other things. But you can make a more sweet version. So you can take cinnamon sugar or just cinnamon and put that onto the mixture, which will do one that way. You can do more of a savory salty one. My favorite version of that is garlic salt. Salt complements really well with this. It brings out a nice flavor and makes it taste more like roti or naan. But I love the garlic. And then we can do the crushed red pepper version, which gives it a little bit of a spice kick, or you can do cayenne pepper, paprika, chili powder, whatever it is that you want. I just like the subtleties of a crushed red pepper, so we'll make one that way as well. But I think our potato is fairly dry now, so it's time to poke some holes in this thing. So we want to start to heat our sweet potato. You can take a fork and literally just stab your sweet potato. To me, that takes way too long, and the puncture hole is so small that this is gonna take forever to heat up. So I get a knife and I literally just poke slits. And to me, this allows maximum heat to enter the potato, and I don't have to microwave as long. And we're gonna just do this all over. Get even slits all over the potato. And we're gonna stick this in the microwave for about 6 minutes. So you don't have to microwave your potato. Obviously, microwaving zaps some of the nutrition, but if you want to save time, just microwave. That's what I do. You can stick it in the oven if you have a little bit more time on your hands. Okay, so now our potato has been fully evenly stabbed all over. We're gonna stick this on a plate in the microwave for 6 minutes. We're gonna take it out at the 6-minute mark, and we're gonna test it to see how easily we can cut it. If it's still too firm, we won't be able to extract the insides and make the bread. So let's pop this in the microwave for 6 minutes. Okay, so we are done microwaving it for the first 6-minute session. You can see the darker pigmentation right here is where like some of the sugar coming through the potato, so that part is getting cooked. But there is some firm areas throughout here that I can feel aren't soft and mushy. So if you still hear like kind of a crisp sound, you know it's not where it needs to be. So we're gonna pop this back in the microwave for 6 more minutes. And we have our potato. So you can see the skin is essentially peeling off the potato very easily. While this potato is hot is when you want to do that. So right now, that's what we're gonna do. Try to take off as much of the skin as we possibly can. And we're gonna let the potato cool in this open position. So I'm just gonna skin and let the potato cool. And then we'll be back in about 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes after the potato's fully cooled. Okay, so now that our sweet potato has cooled, and it is cooled to the touch, which is really important because you use your hands quite a bit for this, we're gonna take some flour. This is just organic flour from Central Market, and we're gonna take a little bit of that, and we're gonna flour our surface because we're gonna be working directly onto the counter. Now, if that is not your cup of tea, definitely like figure out a way to do this, but for me, in my experience, disinfecting this area and using a wide surface area has been the most effective way to do this. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of flour my surface, and this is just gonna help the potato not stick. Now, the rule of thumb here is for every half a cup of sweet potato you have, you want half a cup of flour. So, or if you have a cup of sweet potato, you want a cup of flour. You want those measurements to be equal, and you literally just mix the two. So I'm gonna do a time lapse and show you how I get this mixed up. So just to show you in a slower version of that, I literally just take the flour and I push it into the sweet potato, and I really just make sure that the entire sweet potato is covered in flour so that it doesn't stick to the pan or the counter. And then you want to roll it into like a log so that you can evenly cut it and make even pieces. So we're just gonna cut. And now we're gonna roll these into little balls on their own. So we're gonna set them to the side. And you're just gonna roll this into a little ball and press it with your hand. This pushes the flour into the sweet potato and makes sure that it's evenly coated. You could use a rolling pin if you wanted. Just make sure that you don't make the sweet potato pancake type thing too flat, because then it's gonna be really hard to pick up, you see? So it's kind of like falls apart when you roll it with the pin. So you just want to really just use your hands. That's gonna be the best way. And at this point, you can sprinkle your flour or your sweet potato with whatever seasoning you want. So I'm gonna do a little bit of garlic salt in one of them, cinnamon sugar in one of them, and then red pepper in one of them. And we're gonna throw it on the cast iron skillet and cook it, and then we're gonna have our sweet potato bread. And you can just feel that it's really dense. The thing is, you just want to press it to where it's thin enough to really feel like you're eating bread or naan or tortilla, but not too thin to where it won't keep its structure. So this is kind of what you want right here, this density right here. Okay, so now we have our skillet. It's heated up to a medium heat. We don't want it to be on high because the outside's gonna burn too quickly, and we want a nice even coating on the sweet potatoes. So you can see here the sweet potato is kind of imperfect. Some are more round, some are more regular. It doesn't actually matter. If you're really particular about the shape, you can definitely make them perfect. So we're just gonna like lightly spray that evenly, make sure that we have that at the temperature we want it to be at, and then we're just gonna start to place our sweet potato cakes directly onto the cast iron. Your little sizzle. Okay, so these have been cooking for quite some time. I'm just gonna lightly spray the tops of them with Pam before I flip them so that they don't stick. And now they're ready to flip. Okay, so these are cooking up really nicely. It's about time to take them off, and you can see we have little pieces of sweet potato bread now. On the way I do it, and this is probably the wrong way, there's probably better recipes online that show this, there is a little bit of like residual flour, and I just kind of push that down into the skillet just like this, but it doesn't bother me, but I'm sure that there's a better way to do this. I think if I were to brush the entire thing with like butter or oil, I'm sure that flour would go away. I'm just trying not to add to the fat calories as much. So yeah, now we have little perfect pieces of bread. Okay, so for this next round, I'm gonna do butter just so you can see the difference in how it cooks. I'm just gonna throw a little butter on the skillet. Now we'll add our sweet potato dough. Obviously the butter's like, you know, gonna be better tasting, but if you're trying to watch your calories, the cooking spray is gonna be the better version for you, but the butter cooks the dough or the flour really nicely. So it already smells amazing. I'm just gonna spritz the top with a little cooking spray. The top gets wet, and we'll flip them over in about 2 minutes. Oh yeah, the butter is a nice touch, but I just can't have that every day, but I know that it's a nice treat, and I just wanted to show you that option as well with the butter. Yeah, the butter ones came out really beautifully. So we're gonna plate these, put some toppings on them, and let's see how they taste. Okay, so we are officially done. I wanted to show you each dish. I did the garlic one with a little bit of pickled garlic on it and cilantro and yogurt. This is a traditional Indian breakfast dish that's typically made with flour and, but we just did the sweet potato instead to give it a little variation. Another savory option is with the one that I did with the crushed red pepper. I just put that shredded chicken that I made the other day on top of it and some Greek yogurt and cilantro. Again, clearly there's a theme here. And then for the cinnamon sugar one, I just put Greek yogurt and some sliced almonds, and you can really top it with whatever sweet topping you want. But these are just 3 ways to make the sweet potato bread option and turn it into sweet or savory dishes that are healthy. And you don't have to cook with the butter if you want. You can just use the cooking spray. Just know that you will have a little bit of residual flour there, so keep that in mind. But yeah, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch up with you guys next time. Bye.